You have your own divine guardian angel who supported you in the creation that you are living in and through, and who is with you always. Ask your guardian angel to beam light into your aura, to support you, and to bring the joy.
How lovely is that? When you first brought in the angels and started channeling them, it was like a big dramatic energy right out of the gate. And then the other interesting thing too, Natalie, is when you started talking about the guardian angels, I looked at my timer and it was 5555. Which is an angel
Wow.
number. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Julie Ryan Show. It's where we blend spirituality and practicality to help you live a life of purpose and joy. We have Natalie Namaste with us on the show today. Natalie is an intuitive healer, Reiki master, and teacher. In addition, Natalie channels 120 beings of light. I'm eager to learn who they are, and I'll be asking Natalie to channel any messages they have for us. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with your family and friends. Now let's go chat with Natalie. Natalie, what a treat to have you with us today. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Oh, it feels so wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me as a guest.
Oh my gosh, my honor. You channel 120 beings of light. Did you count them? And who are they? Are they angels, spirit guides, God himself, loved ones? Who are the 120 beings of light?
I love this question. Well, it was when I was about 18 years old and I was working in a coffee shop. This lady, she was psychic and she could read energy. She tapped me on the arm and pulled me over and said, "Do you know that you've got 120 angelic beings of light that are working with you, and you've come here to earth to help with ascension, and it all starts with yoga." And when she said this to me, I got such a strong energy and light go through my body that it was like a knowing. And I all of a sudden like flashed and could see that all the time throughout my life, there's been these beings that I've been talking to and communicating with. And she kind of like just confirmed it and solidified it for me. So I never really came up with that I had 120. She's the one who told me, and then it was a strong yes. And then from that, so they're angelic beings. They're a very high frequency. I don't hear like different voices or accents. It's it's mainly I hear frequencies. So the room will go really high or go into like there'll be like a it kind of feels like you're underwater. That's what happens. And then
Feels
I
muffled?
know,
Like the sound is muffled, kind of?
yeah, like, and it could just be one ear that it happens to, and then I get like tingles and goosebumps down my body. So I can hear and feel and see. I actually can see with my physical eyes these beings of light. They sometimes flash like as white light or a different color light. And at first I thought I was crazy because what are all these flashes? Like, is there something wrong with my eyes? But it's yeah, no, I've got really good eyesight, and I'm seeing more and more beyond this dimension. So these beings of light channel through me, but also, yeah, it is. I also do channel God or truth or source or whatever you want to call it, the ultimate reality, and then everything in between. So sometimes I'm working with a client and then I'm like, oh, well, your great grandfather's here and he's bringing through this message, or he's got a flower, or so spirits as well.
I love it. I always think when we're talking to God, I can hear Morgan Freeman or James Earl Jones going, "This is God," in a really low voice. And I haven't ever heard anybody say that they hear God like that, but, movie magic being what it is, makes me think of it. I think it's interesting that it's 120 beings too, because in numerology, especially in the Bible, 1 plus 2 equals 3, and 3 is the number for divine perfection. Did you know
Yes.
that? Yeah,
Yes, divine perfection and like the trilogy of body, mind, and spirit. So
true.
it's powerful, the
Yeah,
three.
it is, absolutely. So you said you can see them. What do these angels look like?
So it's oh, it's like you're looking into a hazy room. You know, if you're driving on a road and the heat's coming off the tarmac, like that. So I'll see that, and then at nighttime, I turn the lights off, and I love staring into space and watching what's happening here, and then I'll see so much energy. It's like on the old TVs where you'd see the black and white static. I
Uh-huh.
see the static everywhere, and then all of a sudden there's transparent light is best way I can describe it, that will break the static and it will go whoosh and move past me in different directions. So that's another way in which I can see them. I mean, it's quite crazy the things that I see. I was sitting the other day, just sitting on the sofa, staring into space, looking at my coffee table and all the things that are on it. And then I move awareness from the objects into the space in between the objects. And if I just continue to stare, it turns into kind of like UV light, um, like purpley red light, and then everything disappears. Everything turns into energy. Yeah. So these are some of the things that I'm starting to see and experience beyond this dimension.
So you said when you were, what, 18, this woman came up to you and said, "Hey, you got 120 angels that are channeling through you." And you mentioned that you were able to do some of this as a child. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. It's been very natural for me. So I thought it was normal for everyone to be speaking to the angels and to be questioning this reality. When I think I was about 5 or 6 years old, I asked a question that I still love to ask to this day. And it's, if there isn't all of this, what is there? Something happens when we ask a question like that. And so what I started to feel and experience was it was a gateway. It helped me to access beyond the physical reality. And in that moment when I first asked about it, I felt darkness. So I was in darkness, but it felt like dark light. It was warm, loving. I felt at home, at peace, and I just knew this is the truth. And I feel like it's a vibration, it's a feeling, it's a knowing that's inside, that's always guiding me to retract from living in the mind-made dream, and to keep coming home into the silence and the stillness to God. And that's happening more and more. I mean, just the other day, it was such an interesting experience. I made myself some food sitting at the kitchen table, and I realized I had no mind. But the thing is, when you realize you have no mind, the mind's back again. It's just so fascinating, the energy, the vibration of that, of having that amount of light in the body. The whole body was vibrating, and it was so peaceful.
Okay, let's back up a minute here. First of all, what did it feel like when the energy was vibrating in your body? Did you feel excited? Did you feel anxious? Did you feel like you were kind of wound up, or did you feel at peace?
In that moment, because it's happened so many times to me and I've gotten used to it, I felt this feeling of I'm home, at peace. Yeah, very loving. But I can tell you, I've had to go through many dark nights of the souls, or you could call them death of the ego, or, sitting with layers of the mind and anxiety and depression to get to this level where I'm able to be comfortable with that amount of current in the body. Because when I was younger and that feeling would come, I thought I was just anxious or uncomfortable being in this world. I like to spend a lot of time balancing it out and spending time alone, just with the angels or in silence. Yeah, so it's definitely taken years to get comfortable and not afraid of the darkness and of that incredible frequency that it comes with, and 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 of the emptiness. It's very, very empty. And there's a feeling in the solar plexus, the diaphragm area, where the ego communicates. It does a lot of pinging, and we get so used to it because it drives us, and um, it we relate ourselves to it, and we think, oh, okay, this is a feeling we're used to, and this means like, oh, I've got to do this, or I've got to avoid that, and I've been sitting more and more with that feeling, and without question, just allowing it to be there. And the more I've allowed it to be there, the less intense it is. It no longer has control. And I can't say that that's how it's going to always be, because this is the journey, and the journey is, part of this exploration and the day-to-day experience. But for now, in this moment, as we have this conversation, it doesn't force me to act from a place of fear, which it had been doing for lifetime.
Well, fear's a low vibration. So it's harder. It's been my experience. I'd love to hear your take on this. It's harder for spirit to communicate on the low vibrations, because I call those the I feel crappy channels, because spirits are pure love. And it's love is a huge high, high, high vibration. So that's interesting. When you're in that black space, do you think is it a portal? Is it a wormhole? Is it a place? Is it leading you elsewhere? Are you still? Are you moving? What's happening there?
Emptiness, nothing. There's nothingness. And in that, I am here, very, very present in the here and the now, in this moment, the only moment that exists. The mind becomes not even curious. I feel like non-existent. Doesn't it's not really there. But then it does come back because it tries to translate what's happening and understand it. Um, so in the empty, it feels so vast. It feels limitless, and it feels like the veil of the mind can no longer keep me trapped. I'm not Natalie. That's a character that's being played and thoroughly enjoyed, but it's not me. And so I feel like I come back to what we truly are: God, source, the oneness. Yeah, the love. And yeah, it is very, very high frequency. So the dark light, the highest of frequencies that right now I can embody.
It's really interesting with you talking about the dark light frequencies, because most of us humans think of darkness as a low frequency and light as a really high frequency. And of the stories that I've heard over the last, excuse me, 30 years, people see the light. You're the first person I've talked to who talks about just being in the darkness and feeling the warmth and the comfort and the belonging and all of that in the darkness. What do you think's going on there? Are you at a higher vibration than others that are seeing brilliant light? Is it just showing up differently to you? why do you think your experience is so opposite from many, many people who've had near-death experiences and have experienced the afterlife?
Hmm. I'm going to just channel this and to allow it to flow through me. What is it that I'm experiencing? I am moving beyond attachments of the mind. And so I am bringing both polarities together where there is no comparison of good and bad. There is acceptance of whatever is showing up is what is meant to be. There is a deep comfort with the light and the dark. And so I'm able to go through this. It could be a portal or a gateway or a gateless gate, because that's how it feels, because there's nothing actually ever, there's no gate there. It's always open for every single one of us to come home, because it's here in this present moment. And so by accepting and allowing everything to be as it is without attaching and resisting, I'm okay in the dark and the light. And so they come together. And I feel like I'm noticing many polarities. It's coming together and being in the field at the same time. And one of the messages I got was that it's through the duality that you come back home to unity. It's also through the duality that you get to have this incredible mind-made experience. So it's through the mind that we start to imagine and create. And then it's also through the mind that we realize that these are all creations and it's not the ultimate truth of what we are. So we can use it to go out in like a macrocosmic evolution, and we can use it to come back in to God in a microcosmic involution. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting more comfortable with allowing, and that's what's bringing the
Mhm,
dark and the light.
mhm. I'm hearing it's a portal of some kind for you. The other thing that I'm hearing is these divine downloads come into my head, Natalie, is that y I'm hearing, well, of an astrophysicist is gonna say that the black absorbs the light. The light doesn't absorb the black absorbs the light. Interesting. And and then the other thing that I'm hearing too is that when you're doing this, you're raising your vibrational level and it's helping you stay focused so that you aren't distracted from the mind because the mind thoughts don't have a meaning until we assign them a meaning. So when you're able to cease your thoughts, and that's what all meditation is it's about finding this space in between the thoughts. You, it sounds like have been doing it for a long time. So you've been able to perhaps elongate or lengthen the space in between the thoughts through a lot of practice. Am I assuming correctly?
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
this whole lifetime.
So you're able to access I just heard you're able to access a portal.
That feels like truth. I've got goosebumps from the top of my
Yeah,
head going all the way down.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's take a couple steps back. I do want you to channel a message for all of us from your angels if they wanna chat with us here in a few minutes. But first, when you first started experiencing this as a child, what did your family think? Do you come from a spiritual family? Did you talk to them about it? You said you just thought it was normal.
Yeah, and it's interesting because my mom would allow me to just share whatever was happening with me to a point, and then she'd get very scared and fearful, and she wanted me to like like pray to Jesus and to like in her own way, and so I was open to listening to what she was saying. And I was also born Jewish, so I learned the Jewish tradition and practices, and I never quite understood everything. Like when we would be praying in Hebrew, and I'm not really good at languages, and I it was more the feeling. So it's always been the feeling, like a deep inner feeling of connection to God. And so I was allowed to be me in my family. My dad, now these days, whenever I see him, he's like, "Oh, look, tell me what color my aura is," and he's like, "Oh, let me know what my sister who's passed away, if you get any messages from her or from his mother," and so they're very supportive and they're interested. And so growing up, I lived in a magical world. So I remember I had this cupboard next to my bed, and it didn't close properly. So I put like the sticky stuff to like try close it and keep it closed. And I would say every night to God, I'd say, "God and angels, to let me know that you're with me when I wake up, the cupboard door, keep it, like, make it come open it." So I'd wake up in the morning and it was always open. And then I had this fish. It was silver and blue, and I knew that I could touch it. And I was told, like, you shouldn't touch goldfish. But I knew that we had a connection deeper. And every time I touched it, I could make a wish and it would come true. And I got this message that, when your eyes go slightly out of focus and you're kind of in a daze, the thoughts that you have in those moments can be very powerful and can come into fruition. And so that was a message I got when I was very young. So I used to practice that technique of going into dazed eyes and make a wish with the wishing fish, and or talk to the angels around me. So it was a magical childhood where I never got forced or told to forget what's beyond the material objects and this 3D mind-made reality.
How smart were your parents? You say when you're working with clients, they can feel the healing energy flow through them. Can you give us an example of that?
Yes, so when I meet someone, we start to become one. So my soul connects deeply with their soul, and I start to feel in my body what's happening in their body. So I'll all of a sudden feel maybe energy moving around in my neck and my throat area, maybe a little tickle, and then I can ask a question in my mind to the angels or direct to the universe, God, and go a bit deeper to find out, well, what is this? And then they'll come and answer, and then I'll go, and what's the root of it? Because a lot of the roots of our beliefs will have like a one big deep root, and loads of different belief patterns all around that root belief. And it helps to go deep through all the layers if that person's open and how open they are. And it's all at the level of readiness that they're at. So I'll always meet the person exactly where they are, feel, connect, and understand them. And it's so beautiful because, like just the other day, someone who has had an alcohol addiction for so long, and they actually couldn't attend their session. So I did the session just as a recording without them being there. And I felt a lot. To the point that all of a sudden I was as if I was a child screaming and crying because the noise of adults shouting was too loud. So I kind of went back in time and I became them, and I could experience and feel what they were going through, and I could feel it in my body. And then like tears came streaming down. And after that session, I needed to just relax and do nothing, because that's one of the stronger ones. But then sometimes there'll be a session with someone where they're so high frequency, and we kind of go on a on a high frequency journey because they're ready for and can handle a high frequency amount of light to go through them, which means that I will start to channel a lot of light. And my body will start to vibrate like pins and needles through the hands, through the feet. And the whole room will turn into energy, light, and color. And my ears, I'll start hearing the higher frequencies. And I will be a stream of conscious communication, just a channel that's communicating. And I won't really remember anything that has been said through me afterward. And so there's that kind of a session, and we'll go into also moments where I play some music and the Reiki's flowing through, and I get them to lie down and close their eyes and breathe. Often when a person comes out of a session like that, they're like, whoa, and they can't speak because their whole body is vibrating energy. They're actually feeling alive. This is it. To feel the energy in the body, that is life living.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I call that reverse engineering whatever their symptom is. Let's figure out what's the root cause. And once we identify the root cause, I find that it eradicates it. And it's always an emotional event in my experience. There's always an emotional event at the root of any kind of medical condition. Have you found that to be the same thing?
Definitely. It's like the thought was so strong and repetitive, and that then it became a belief, and it was meshed. It came together with emotion. So, and then most likely the person didn't want to feel that emotion because it's so uncomfortable. And so they've resisted it and run away from it. And so it's buried deep down inside. And often I'll say to the person, well, where do you feel it in your body? And they'll be able to pinpoint somewhere in the body where they're feeling a void. It often is darkness that they see. It's darkness and um, discomfort, pain, and emotion. And then there'll be tears and there'll be a lot of feeling. And it's good. I'm always just holding space and saying, this is good. This is so good that you are feeling all of these emotions, because the way through back to wholeness, the way through healing is through the feeling. Allow what is to be what is. When there's no more resistance, you break through all those layers, and it's like layers that encrust a beautiful crystal inside. That beautiful crystal is God, which is the true you. And so, yeah, you release them, and naturally you feel so much lighter. Like even physically, wherever there was tightness in the body, there's the energy can flow through. I feel and I see in people that we've got this huge column of energy that flows down through the top of our head, down through the central channel, like through the spinal column, and down in between the legs into the earth, and also up from the earth and all the way up, sprouting out of the top of the head and into the aura. And I actually see it. I see this light, and I can see through the camera um, how a person looks before and after they've had a massive release of emotion and beliefs.
Yeah. How do people stuff emotions?
One of the ways is even swallowing. Right now, I'm like, you have an emotion, like for example, it's fire burning anger, and you've been told you're not allowed to be angry. Anger is a bad emotion. So at a young age, it's like, okay, and you actually swallow, and it pushes it down. And another way is we resist it by attaching to other things, like attaching to happiness, like having a belief that we're meant to always be happy and smiley and be the best person, and that's very hard to do. And that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to be happy. We're here to be human. We're here to experience all of the emotions in a healthy way. And a healthy way is by allowing what is to be. And so, yeah, attaching to happiness blocks any other lower frequency, uncomfortable emotion. Um, running away from it, and getting busy, so doing other things. So you start to feel something uncomfortable coming up for you, and you like, okay, I'm not going to give time to that. I'm going to work. Or so we get ourselves so distracted. That's a way of avoiding these uncomfortable emotions.
And I think we all do it, especially in our modern world with all of the distractions that we have at our fingertips with our phones and our computers and our smart TVs and all the ways that we can communicate. And my gosh, just the streaming services. People say, "Well, did you watch this? Did you watch that?" I'm like, there's so much to watch. No, I haven't seen that. It's very limited the amount of time that I have to watch something that's an entertaining thing, and I try and do it every day, but I don't wanna watch blood and gore during that time. I wanna watch something that's gonna be uplifting and fun and beautiful and make me feel good, and fortunately, my husband watches all that other stuff when I'm not around. So, it
Perfect.
works out well for me on that. When you're working with somebody, you say you receive messages for them. Can you give us an example of what kind of message you may receive for somebody? Is it something that perhaps is emotional? Is it about another family member? Is it about their health? Can it be all of the above?
Yes, it's a full. It's the whole of them. So I will see past lives that they've experienced. I had one client where she had had pain in her left shoulder her entire life, and I didn't know that. I was first session we were having, and I all of a sudden got whizzed into a past life, and I saw an accident where her arm was pulled right out, and I said that, and she's just like emotion and tears. The client feels it when they recognize truth. So from past lives to ancestors. I also do like generational ancestral healing. So all of a sudden, my room will get full. We'll have a lineage that will come in, and they'll want to share and speak about what it is that they experienced when they were on Earth. And if we can clear that frequency from the ancestral lineage, and then I can pinpoint where it's in the body of the person that I'm the client. I can see where it's in the body, and then I could so physically, and then the emotion that comes with it. So I'll feel the emotion with them, and I'll see color, knowing what the color means, the message that the color means, um, and yeah. So it's all of that. I'm just trying to sense loved ones who have passed, and angels and their guides. Their guides will come in and share their names or their energy or a song or I mean, I don't sing, but it'll come through. Um, yes, so I'm open to everything, however deep and how far they're ready to go. And so some people are wanting to still work at the level of where they're addressing some belief patterns and at the mind, and that's beautiful, deep, strong work. And others will want to go into like energetics, and so
Mhm.
then we'll go that way.
I find this whole ancestral healing thing fascinating. I'm just really starting to learn about it, primarily from people like you who've been on this show, who are working in this niche. And so when you're doing an ancestral healing and you say that their loved ones' spirits come in the room, their ancestors, if you will, and then you can clear their drama and trauma, how do you do that? Can you give us an example of a client with whom you've worked where that exercise was done and was completed and then what the result was?
Yes. So I had a great grandfather come in with tears and explaining the trauma and the way in which he had grown up, and that there was no love in the he didn't feel loved and didn't know how to love, and and that he didn't feel heard and that didn't feel like he could express himself, and kind of felt like an outsider in the family, that they didn't understand him. And so having that understanding of everything that he felt and experienced really helped the client. And all the time while he communicated, the client was feeling stuff moving in the throat chakra and also the solar plexus in the diaphragm area. So physically they started to feel things. And then there's a point where we'll go and be quiet, and I will channel. Most of the time it could be light or white, or or green is quite a beautiful healing color that will come in. It depends. But for this instance, it was white and green light that came in, and my client had her eyes closed. So visualizing this color, feeling this color in the areas, those two areas of the body, and feeling and sensing her great grandfather with her. And then we felt something lift and shift. And then I knew, okay, this is being cleared. And at the same time, I could feel like it was clearing from aunts and cousins and uh, souls that are still going to be born on this earth, and going also upwards to souls that had passed, that had been affected by the behaviors of the great great grandfather while he was on earth. So for him, because he is in the soul form with still mind energy, but yet access back to God, there's nothing to heal, nothing to fix. It's all is well, all is one, except that he knows and knew that he could use that essence of the residue mind that's still available, which keeps a soul, because a soul is separate. Anything that's separate is mind-made. It's not God. God is integrated, is oneness. And so from that level, he could communicate to me and work with us so that we could bring more light to that pattern that's been running in so many of the family members.
Interesting. Well, and I think it's fascinating too that you were talking about you were seeing lots of green energy. Well, the heart chakra is green. When I first started learning about this stuff, I thought, well, the heart chakra is going to be red. Of course, Valentine's Day, love, right? That's always depicted as red. I was really surprised when I learned that it was green. And there you are talking about all this green energy, which is love energy from the heart, which is really,
Exactly.
yeah, really
And
interesting.
um, because I work with like the polarities into unity, I see the colors that come together. And my yoga mat is like this turquoisey green color, and always around it I see pink light. And so then I look inside the heart and I see the green, and then deep inside is this pink light, which is the self-love, the compassion, the understanding, and the acceptance frequency.
Huh. I have a collection of antique brooches and necklaces. Some were my grandmother's, both of my grandmothers, some were my mother's, some were my sister's. I have a sister in heaven too. They're probably having tea together watching us with this chat. And I have a couple that have what they call moonstones in them, which is really old. I don't know if you've seen those. I mean, I have brooches that are over 100 years old with moonstones in them, and they are green on the surface, and then when you move it, there's an iridescent pink inside of it. It made me think of that when you were just talking about how you look into the heart chakra and then it becomes kind of pink inside. Isn't that fascinating?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can actually feel that frequency as you talk about it, the moonstone energy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very different, and it looks different on camera than it does in person, because when you move that moonstone, that like these brooches that I have, it takes on a different look. It can look like a totally different piece of jewelry, which I find fascinating too. Yeah. So when you energetically connect with a client, what happens? Do you say, okay, I want you to lay down and close your eyes and, you know? be still? Are they on the Zoom with you, watching you on camera? What's the whole process that you go through when you're connecting with somebody? And how long does it take? And do they have to do anything first before you connect with them?
Yeah, just arrive and I'll support them. And um I feel like there is no healer and person being healed. There is just a presence and a oneness and a desire and an intention. And so we'll meet through video, and I'll see them and we'll chat, and it kind of will just flow. I'll ask them what's on their mind, what's in their heart, what's called them to the session today, and we'll just let them speak. And while they're speaking, I'm getting information downloads, so I'm writing so that I don't miss a single thing. And then once they're finished talking, I'll be guided where to bounce to with all the little things I've written and go deep. I know exactly then where to go, and we'll go deep into each topic. And once we've like, and I'll feel it. I actually feel it in my brain. My brain won't be what I don't know how to describe it, but there's a feeling, and I'll know until that feeling is not there that there's more. That it's like you got to go deeper, deeper. So I'm using a lot in my brain when I'm doing this, and then you will get to a point where I get this message like a circle. All the talking is complete, all the channeling. They've received a lot from that, and often within that a lot of emotion could come up, and it's like they'll be getting a lot of goosebumps, and already energy is moving. And then after that, if there's time, I'll get them to lie down and I'll play music and channel. It's kind of like a meditation where I'm seeing things that they need. So it might be color healing with Reiki, because I'm a Reiki master teacher. So it also can be a certain crystal that'll come through, or a message from the angels, or an affirmation that I've got to place in a certain area in their body, or I'll see some stuck energy in a certain area, and I'll go there and I'll start to pull it out, or I'll burn it with a violet flame of transmutation. And so there's many different tools that'll come through that I'll use it with. Often we'll use the breath, and then also the angels will bring through a tool specific for them that they can work with over the next days and weeks to help with the integration of what's being released and the amount of light that they're now flowing with. And then I'll bring them back and place them in a beautiful bubble of protective light. And so it's a meditation with Reiki and colors and crystals and energies, and it's a journey.
Do you find that when you are injecting, is the word that came into my mind, when you're injecting these higher frequencies into your clients, that it takes time for them to be able to resonate with that frequency, or are they able to accept it and hold it by the end of the session with you?
Because it's always matched to what they're ready for,
Mm.
it's already integrating during the session. And because I can hold a big container for them. It's like I'm an angel wrapping my wings around them and just loving them and seeing them for who they truly are. That they start to see themselves for who they truly are. So the acceptance part lands with love. So it
Mhm.
lands deeply.
Mhm. Interesting. I find the same thing too, for the most part, that they're not gonna come to us if they're not ready, and they're not even cognizant that they're ready for a a vibration upgrade, but they're gonna get one as spirit works through us and with us to help them heal themselves, because I believe that nobody heals anybody else. We're just the helpers. We're the facilitators to help them heal themselves. Do your angels have a message for all of us that are listening and watching?
Oh, I got such a strong yes, yes, yes. So I'm going to take a moment to breathe and allow them full space. Welcome home. All that's been already channeled through, and this sacred space is already bringing you back home. Many of you are landing so deeply into presence. Enter deeper and deeper through the gateway of your heart. And notice that your sacred heartbeat is the great intelligence that is pulsing patterns and energy throughout your entire body. Your body is a portal to coming home. And it is not for you to seek outside of you or to find something from outside of you to fill something that you might feel is missing from within. There is nothing to do but to allow and surrender what is. Observing your sacred mind. Your mind is so powerful. Your mind is how you are imagining yourself into existence right now. You created this body you are in. Every single beautiful marking on your body, your fingertips, unique to your essence, your vibration, and your story. You are divinely perfect. And you can choose to use the mind, picking up the mind to create and enjoy life on earth, and in gently placing the mind back down and coming back home through the heart to this, to now, to God, which is you. This is you. And you can never find you because you are not to be found. You are always here. You are existence itself. You are always here. And you have your own divine guardian angel who supported you in the creation that you are living in and through, and who is with you always. Ask your guardian angel to beam light into your aura, to support you, and to bring the joy so that you remember to enjoy the light-hearted fruits of your creations, even in the moments that are darker. Especially in those moments, ask your guardian angel to support you and hold you. You will feel your hand being held, and you will know. You will know. You will not think. You will be beyond the mind. Home.
How lovely is that? When you first brought in the angels and started channeling them, my heart was going, boom, 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 boom. It was beating really fast. And then it settled down, once you talked for a few seconds. But it was funny because it was like a big, big dramatic energy right out of the gate. And so that was interesting. And then the other interesting thing too, Natalie, is when you started talking about the guardian angels, I looked at my timer and it was 5555, which is an angel
Wow.
number. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I need to write that down so I can remember to tell you. Yeah, it was an
Yes.
angel number when you started talking about the guardian angels. Have you heard from your angels that, and I've heard this, so I'd love to hear what your take on this is, that we keep the same guardian angel throughout all of our incarnations. Have you heard that?
I get a strong sense that we do. That's what
Yeah,
I'm picking up and feeling.
right.
And then I also feel like we have guides that come and go, different guides
Yeah.
for different parts of our life.
Yes. Yes. But our guardian angel stays with us throughout all of our lifetimes, even when we're in between lifetimes, which is kind of an interesting concept because there are lots of schools of thought that believe that we live multiple lifetimes concurrently. And so you're
Yes,
thinking, okay, so we're a fractal of the divine, so we're living all these lifetimes concurrently. So I guess that means our guardian angel is living all these lifetimes with us concurrently.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for the mind to grasp because we're linear here. We're just, we're trying to make sense of it. But I feel it that I even got this message as you were saying that we are our guardian angel. That's our high, high, high frequency self.
Huh.
So yeah, that's
Interesting.
what I just felt in that moment as you said it.
Interesting. Huh. I haven't heard that one before. W How do souls start? How do spirits start? Are they born like stars? Are they um, um, a meteor strikes the star and then particles go off and they form other spirits that become people? What's your understanding of that?
I want to channel the answer for this one.
Okay. All right.
There's God's oneness and there's one thought. And it's like a spark. It's like friction um, of of something held together, and then a, a polar frequency, a different energy sparks, and then where a soul is created. That's what I'm seeing.
So that's what I was getting too, that it was like a star, if it's hit by a meteor or something, and the star explodes, and there's all these little pieces of the star that all form different, unique pieces of the star. And they're
Yes.
fractals of the original star, like we're fractals of the divine. But what causes the spark? We're getting deep here, girl.
Yeah. It's the mind.
God's mind?
No, God is nothing to do with the mind. It's God is the oneness. So we can't even even naming God. We're putting it into mind. We're bringing it back into we're making it human. We can't. It's unnameable. We can't grasp it with our mind. So it's this unnameable. The way you can come back to it is presence, and it's that. And it's the mind. The mind is so powerful. Well, actually, if you think about it, like all of this, like even this conversation we're having through the mind, this incredible mind. And so this mind has got a lot of energy. Wow, it's got a lot of energy because what it does is it keeps awareness, God, focused on it. That's how powerful it is. It keeps us focused on it so that it can continue to create more structures and beliefs and everything, everything that we're seeing. But when we retract awareness away from the mind, so we stop feeding awareness to the mind, we come back to God and it's empty, it's nothing. And so So it's the mind that's created. So you could call it the soul, because the soul is separate, which means it's the mind.
Interesting. Okay. Well, and it's interesting that you're talking about the darkness, because then we're back to the black hole. And is that a portal into something? And recent research that I've been reading, scientists have been able to see inside the nucleus of a human cell, and it's a black hole. Do you love that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that goes right with what we've
exactly,
been talking about and what you're.
exactly. So we can go smaller and smaller, like to the electron, and then there's nothing. So, sometimes I do a meditation where I choose one cell in my body and I go into it. And then inside that cell is the entire universe. And then through the universe, eventually you get to nothing. It's totally pitch black.
Which is hard for our human minds to understand, because we always think, okay, well, it's gotta be a speck of light or something in there. But the
Yeah.
fact that it's darkness is that source. As I mentioned earlier, that's you're the first person that I've talked to that talks about, yeah, it's just black. It's just void of anything. Fascinating.
And the mind's biggest fear is the unknown. The mind wants to keep knowing, because as it knows itself, we're existing. That's how it is. And so if the mind no longer exists, if we're in the unknown and there's no mind there, then what is there? And there's nothing. And it's pitch black. But it is so freeing. It's so worth going through the dark nights of the soul, and going through those emotions, and peeling back the layers, because that nothingness that we're so afraid of is everything. It's God, it's home, it's so comfortable.
Fascinating. Two more questions as we're winding down here. You do a monthly channeling session with people from all over the world. What happens in those sessions and how can people benefit from them?
I get goosebumps even starting to think about them. So they're every 11th day of the month, and 11 is the energy of oneness. So many people are drawn to the number 1111. And so we come together, and we open up the circle, and I'll channel something where people will breathe and connect with their heart and find, and an intention. If there's an intention inside of them, will come up, and they'll share it in the chat, um, or write it in their journal. And then more channeling of messages will come through. There's often like a theme or a few themes that will come in, so people will learn something, and have a deeper understanding, which they can really start to integrate and work with. And then we do 8 minute silent meditation, where it's powerful, because I'm channeling at that time. There's so much energy coming through me, and people are starting to have sporadic, spontaneous healing, and feeling vibrations, and being in the stillness and coming home to God. So many different experiences for people. And then I pick a card, and we get a message from the cards. And then if we have a bit of time, I'll ask if anyone wants to ask a question, and I'll channel answers to their questions. And that's a 30-minute session, so it's full of beautiful divine love and energy. And I have guests that come on. In January, I've got Geraldine Glass, who's a world-renowned. She that works with the sound, singing bowls, crystal singing bowls, and many different guests that come on, and offer just a few moments of their magic as well. So it's always a little bit different.
And anybody can participate if they
Yes,
want.
everyone is so welcome. I keep it just a small. It's $11, so it's affordable for everyone. And um, there's a link on my website, natalienamaste.com. And yeah, I would love everyone to join and experience this.
Okay. Last question. Why do we incarnate?
To experience ourselves, to be life in a body, to exist in a human form.
Okay. Beautiful. You're fascinating, my girl. So lovely. Your energy is so high and delicate at the same time, which is interesting because it sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? You really have powerful energy and it's delicate at the same time. So, what a fascinating conversation that we've had. I'm gonna have to go back and dissect some of it because I think a lot of big golden nuggets, profound information here that you've brought to the table for all of us. So I thank you for that. How can people learn more about you and your work?
Well, my YouTube is a place where people are really loving because I'm channeling messages and monthly energy updates. So that's Natalie Namaste Healer. And on my Instagrams also, I love just I get so inspired, which is in flow with spirit, and then quickly press record and share some insights and wisdoms. And that's Natalie Namaste with an underscore at the end. And then, yeah, my website, natalienamaste.com. So just if you connect with me, I'm fully booked for one-on-one sessions, but I welcome people for my groups. I'm teaching Reiki level 1 in January. And yeah, come and join the groups because that's the more we're joining together, I can feel it's like the ripple effect of the light is expanding hugely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us, and thanks for bringing your angel buddies with you as well. And everybody, in the meantime, we're sending you lots of love from Sweet Home, Alabama, mwah! And from Nicaragua, too, where Natalie is. We'll see you next time.
To enhance your spiritual journey, click on one of the videos below and remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and share with your family and friends.